and then we're gonna go ahead and play d4, which is launching a bit of a dubious but playable gambit. After here and then here, things look pretty good for white. We got this nice little center. We're attacking the bishop. Well, this is a little too good to be true because it's a balanced game, and just a one tempo difference starting advantage that the white has shouldn't merit this type of an advantage. So based off of that, you might say to yourself, this doesn't seem quite right. I bet there's a way to correctly follow up and essentially punish this. What would that be? There is justice in chess, and it doesn't seem to be present at the moment. What's the proper continuation here for black? d4, what are you, crazy? We got two defenders on this guy. Pow, pow. So it's a 2-to-2 ratio. Ain't gonna work. One player's mentioned bishop to b4. You are exactly right. So it begins with this move right here. Okay, so we get out of dodge. The bishop was being threatened. We return with an attack this way. Okay, fair enough. And then after right over here, then we're gonna just go knight to c3. So far, this still prolongs the situation I was describing earlier, which is that there doesn't seem to be justice at present. White is clearly doing quite well. d5 is essentially the move that really sealed black's fate. What he should be doing right here is the move knight takes e4. Now, wait a second. How does this move work? Can they take it? No, we can't take it because of this pin, right? And so what we could do in this spot is we could go with a move like here and go castles. So if we castle like a so, then they go maybe d5 at this point. Okay, then we're right back in it. So it's a complex opening. There's a lot going on right here. We could do something like this and then we're right back with it. So that just give you a general skim of it, but just so as you know, after right here and then castles, the correct move would be bishop takes c3. In the game here, he goes to move pawn to d5, after which we're now going to take this guy, knight takes right back, then we're going to go ahead and get castled. He goes this way. What's the remaining minor piece that hasn't been developed yet? Well, that would be this one here on c1. So we slide this one out here to g5 where it attacks the queen, and then after the move bishop to e7, white launches a mini little combination here designed to prevent white from castling. Bishop takes, here grabs, there, here, and now rook to e1. So we're not threatening to take the knight or anything because, as I mentioned earlier, if it's a 2-to-2 ratio, same deal with a 1-to-1 ratio, we can't win on that square. We have to have one more attacker than they do defender, which in this case is not the case, so we're not threatening it. However, this is causing black a massive problem. So for example, if you were to castle queenside, we go yoink, and we get the knight. So then if they go this way, same deal, we would just get the knight. So what do you think black may do to try to remedy this situation? Yep, we can just pull the queen back, and so if we do this right here, that's a good answer. It transposes to what he actually does. What about queen e2? Same problem persists. We haven't quite solved this problem just yet. What would black do now? Because essentially black is realizing what's happening and going, I need to troubleshoot. What would be a good try now? Queen to d6, that's what we call shuffling about. Okay, queen to e6, yeah, this would be like a bit of a last resort. So going here to kind of provide some protection this way and try to nullify this guy. The thing is, we're not really doing all that much with this one. So let's say, for example, I do nothing and then you castle. Well, in this case, I could at least get back to the pawn, and so therefore this solution would be unsound. Good guess, not quite right. What else we got? Castle on long side. Were you even paying attention? You can't castle on the long side. If you go like this, same deal. Pow. Because now we have 2 attackers to 1 defender, and so we're going to be able to scoop up the knight that way. f6 is indeed the answer I was looking for. So in the game here, after rook to e1, he just does f6 right away. Point being, he's going to shuffle the king back to g8 and slide over his rook and do what's called castling by hand. Cool. After this, we're going to go ahead and go queen to e2. We're making an obvious threat. They go queen back to d7. Now we got to develop more of our stuff. So one that hasn't been developed is this rook right here. All right, so this is actually a much tougher question than it appears. Where should the rook go? d1 or c1? Where should this rook go? I've taught this game a lot of times, but I didn't realize that the answer to this is actually way deeper than you would think it is. We got 1 vote for c1. What else we got? d1 looks a little bit clunky, right? To protect the pawn and free up the knight. Okay, interesting. So by going right here, you're saying that now the knight would be able to move since it's no longer obligated to defend the d4 pawn, since that responsibility is now shared by the rook. That's called over-defending. Good answer there as well. Okay, so in the game, he goes like this. In the original author, Art of Attack here, praised this move, but actually the translator from Russian to English went back through and he went, actually there's some errors in here. Here's the thing, this is actually not the best move. And I learned myself that why that is. It's kind of cool. So basically, after right here, the correct defense for black is to go king to f7, and he essentially gets to do what he wants. He's going to be able to castle by hand. We're not really crashing through. Now, if we try it like queen to c4, he just goes like this. So, get this. This is where it gets kind of interesting now. Why does it make a difference if the rook goes to d1? Well, because now, when the king comes up this this way, and then we do here check, they just do the same move, right? What give? It's because of this move, knight to e5. In addition to protecting the pawn from earlier, which mentioned a second ago, you're actually also setting it up to where if the pawn's ever opened up, there's going to be some pressure against the queen. So you do here, f takes, here grabs, and now kapow, we're attacking the knight. Okay, but then so what? They just defend it. Now what would you do? I reviewed this game probably 100 times, but a joy to like challenge myself to do it that much better for you guys, because you guys are some smart individuals, and so I'm like, how can I step it up a notch and dig a little deeper? Kapow, e6, you're exactly right. I didn't know this. I've been teaching this game for years. I didn't realize that's the case. After rook to c1, so now he goes pawn to c6, and then now he plays an absolutely brilliant move. What's the best move here for white? What's the rationale for that? Jake, what are we doing with this move? He's got 3 things defending there. Clear the d4 square. You're exactly right. Nailed it. So here's the thing with the knight. It's currently in opposition with this pawn right here. You can't really progress forward. And so to make this knight better, however, if we can play this guy in d4, it becomes amazingly problematic for the opponent. So we go like this, launching the best combination of the 19th century. He goes like this. Now his opponent goes, awesome, free pawn, thank you. And we go knight to d4, and then black goes, cool, that was neat. Just gonna do my whole plan here with the castle by hand. Thanks for the pawn. Now what do we do? If we go queen over here to h5 and say check, they would just eject us this way, and then the king would find some comfort probably just on g7. So we do it the little bit slower way. We do knight e6 first. We go like this, not this way, because then they got 2 attackers. Yikes, we're gonna get smashed like a bug on that square. But here, once again, counting attackers and defenders, so there's 2 defenders, and we have 2 attackers, and we have 2 defenders. So we're all good to support this guy here. But remember, we give up a pawn for this, so what gives? Where's the part of this where it works out? Currently, we don't even have a threat. They could do nothing, and we can't like take this guy or anything. Well, just you wait. So rook comes over this way to c8, aiming to just activate an undeveloped piece, and if things go his way, black is hoping to just trade everything off and win in an endgame. White obviously wants things to end differently, and now launches this surprisingly problematic move. Queen to g4 is now threatening queen takes g7, not only just winning a pawn, but crashing through the enemy's kingside pawn shield and just basically ending the game instantly. Definitely not something that black can allow, so he goes, okay, forget about you doing that, I'm gonna go here. Now what can we do? Well, we can do this. At which point, black is still not panicking. He goes, okay, this is neat. This is neat. Okay, I see what you're doing. So you're checking my king, and I can't take your queen because you're threatening right here. Okay, no big problem. And he plays what? Just to make sure you're paying attention. Black at this point, not panicked. He's like, this is all good. I'm not impressed. We're checking the king, and we're threatening the queen. King e8, exactly. So, at present, this is an easily resolved problem. Remember, chess has a lot to do with decision making and problem solving. Black's like, piece of cake, how's this guy world champion? I'm up a pawn, this guy's going down. Not so. Now, what do we play? This move. Kapow, rook e7. Check this out. Every single one of our remaining pieces is hanging, and you can even add that mate is hanging, since if black could do this, then it'd be checkmate. This is exactly why we go over this game even 100 years later, and it gets even deeper than this. It's pretty cool. All right, so the knight is worth 3, the rook's worth 5. If it's simply just a trade, this was a terrible idea. Well, let's back up a second here. I just mentioned that it could be mate. Why is it not mate? So I'll leave this one for a beginner. If you know the answer, give you about like 20 seconds. Why can the rook not go here? Instead then, okay, what about if he takes it this way, or he takes with the queen? Well, if he takes with the queen, now we go, ha ha ha, kapow, your rook is mine. And we go like this, and he's getting destroyed. So what about taking with the king? If this worked, our whole combination is busted, but it's not. After king to e7, there's the shift we're gonna do. We're gonna pivot our attack now to the e file. c8, no longer that decent of a target. We're instead gonna channel our forces this way. Okay, neat. We're still down a rook. This kind of needs to work. After right here, now we go queen b4 check, showing that the queen can be quite agile in this type of situation. After right here, king comes back this way to c7. We're gonna go knight to e6 check, and after this move, now we go here check, and it's game over, because we're gonna be able to checkmate the king, or he's gonna have to give up heavy material. After rook to e7, now what are they gonna do? Well, they don't want to just resign, so they're gonna move over their king. Okay, and then now what's the move? It's an exciting spot, because everything we have is hanging. What do we do? Knight to h7 is a decent suggestion. Unfortunately, it fails on account of, I would say, probably just like this, although I'm not totally sure. And then if we do this, it's similar to the one we saw earlier, but I think the knight being a little bit further away from the king is going to be a make it or break it difference there. Good suggestions, not quite right. What else we got? Rook f7. You go here check. After this, king is going to slide over. And at this point, black's getting impatient. We have to be really careful. We can't take a seemingly free queen right now because we do get mated. So queen counts for a whole lot of nothing if you lose the game right away. And then if we take it this way, same deal. They would just go like this. Seems like we got no good move. Well, those are defensive moves. Let's go offense. What's a good move here for white? So if you go like this, then what would happen next? They go queen c8. Pretty complicated position. They go like this, and then it's now a draw for reasons that are definitely not obvious at first sight, but trust me, it's not the move. Rook g7 is exactly right. Kapow! We go like this, and once again, it's this crazy situation because everything is hanging. They can take the rook, they can take the knight, they can take the queen, they can take this rook with mate, but at the same time, they can't. That'd be illegal because their king's in check. So black goes, okay, I'm chilling. I found safety over here. Now what you gonna do? This move. And now he resigns. Why does he resign? This question's a bit more open-ended, so this is a bit tougher. Why did he give up at this point? In fact, the legend tells that he actually just left the tournament playing hall, which is not ending of the story that I share with little children because they get the wrong impression, but you guys are adults, and it's interesting. He just left. He was like, okay, I'm out. He didn't resign. He just left the tournament. The point is that if right here, then we bring this guy back to g7, seems like the same deal as before. It's not. One big difference. And what would that be? Exactly. Bingo. This pawn is no longer here, which comes in handy because we can go like this. Kapow, check, giving up the rook, and then this magnificent, really long combination continues. So we go like this, check, and then here check. So we got to keep checking the king, so they can't do this. And then after right here, this check, this comes here, king to d8, and what is the finish? I'm looking for the whole line. So we got a 3-move combination there. That's neat. I'm looking for a convincing finish. Maybe material, maybe checkmate. There, rook c8, queen e8. That's neat. That's a lot of moves. Doesn't do a whole lot. I just traded a bunch of pieces. The puzzle's not solved until it has a convincing answer to it. Yes! Nice job, Vera. Okay, kudos to Vera. You got it exactly right. You go this way, check. Only one move for them. No ifs, buts, thens about it. They got to bring the queen back. And then after here, the knight comes into e. Okay, no, you biffed it. Oh, you're so close. All right, but I'll give you the answer. So it's here. So you're thinking this move? This, unfortunately, would blow it, because after right here, then this. I skimmed your answer and I saw you said queen to d6. Was that like a typo? I feel like you made a typo. You got your lines mixed up or something. Because yeah, the knight needs to go to here, so that in addition to attacking here, it also attacks d6. So yeah, that's the answer right there.